everyone. Great to have you here. We're going to take off today. We have maybe some background things to kind of visit again in regards to how the airship runs and works. And I am missing my glasses, I just noticed. So I'll just be kind of squinting at you. So if you are new, there's a reaction key that has a heart on it. And if you hit that, there's a way you can raise your hand. And then if you raise your hand, I'll give you a call on. And then if, I might just say, hey, introduce yourself. That might be kind of feel a lot for some of you, but, know that I could just say, hey, we're going to, maybe call on someone to, since you're here on the airship, kind of bringing it to the place. You might feel a little bit like, woo, it may not happen either. I don't really know, but, we're kind of playing cool. Yeah, we're kind of playing a little bit different this time. I know James just came off alive and, is kind of trying to rebuild some of his energy in regards to like just kind of his alignment with his body. So he might not be as he might just be a little bit more of a listener. Who knows? But we have the options on the board. So Katoom is here. Really great to see you guys. We are shifting into a really big moment right now. We have we're 321 today, and tomorrow's going to be 322, which, as we know, is a significant number. All right, a significant date. Hi, James. I see your hands up. Good to see you.
Hi, yeah, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Actually, I have a topic today. Uh, Man, guys, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't think you're gonna be able to compassionate me, and it's not because you can't compassionate deeply. I think you can. I just think unless you've done what we've done here in the past, or invested as many hours as it takes to do airship and dojo, it's not gonna make any sense. And it's going to be easy to judge me as being a tight ass or mean or angry or whatever. And I just need to get it out. I'm really insulted by the responses to Pi's request that people be less anonymous. And I'm not trying to fight this for Pi. I don't even think Pi would even agree with me. I'm just insulted by how little thought was put into it. Richard said, just no, that was his response. And this guy's a mod. I don't need you to agree with Pi. I need you to fucking write down why you think that. It bothers me. And if you don't know, I need you to know. Pi made a request. I don't want to speak for Pi. It's not just him. All of us, Renee's made this request too. Can you show who you are? Can you do that? And there's a pushback to say, no, we shouldn't do that. We're embracing anonymity. And we seem to have this idea that this makes us holy, that if we could embrace anonymity, we're better people, that we're somehow more righteous because we're supporting a network that allows anonymous people to put on a ski mask and walk in here, have access to the air waves, say things that would get us stricken from the channel, things like COVID stuff, or insult others, and just be able to run away. And that their reputation gets reset every time they come back in. It shouldn't make me mad. It could be because I'm sick. I think it makes me mad because I feel like you guys are actually the enemy. I think you were helping the enemy because you want a world that's more hyena. You want a world where reputation will never, ever count for anything. More so, you want to create a Catholic church where we have a confession where only one specific person listens and somehow absolves you of your sin, which I don't even know how that's even possible. I'm still trying to figure out how Catholics are like, oh, this is a fucking great system, man. I'm magically forgiven for what I did because some fucking priest heard me and I didn't even have to show my face. And I'm sorry this is insulting. I love some of you guys. I think it's because you haven't seen what's happened in the past. And also I think that you've embraced a paradigm of hyena and you don't know it. And I think the idea that anonymous is good is that hyena realm. And I don't even think that you can even think about this. I sort of tricked Renee this morning and I was asking her the same things. And I think it's a difficult question until you're actually there. I don't think this makes any sense, but I want you to imagine that you're running a business and someone walks in and you have other customers around and they just have a ski mask on. Not only that, but they sit down and they interact with you, and that everyone else is supposed to just treat it like it's normal. Everyone's supposed to be cool with it. Every single person's supposed to still remain in their parasympathetic state and that they're supposed to somehow symbiotically connect with the people that are behind the anonymous mask and still deeply hear them. And even though there's no reputational consequences for this person, they're still here. They're still invested. Even though they're not vulnerable now because we've given them the idea of being anonymous, that it doesn't matter because vulnerable doesn't encourage depth, it doesn't encourage connection. We want this world where no one is held responsible. James, pride is bad. Reputation is bad. If you're obsessing over your reputation, that's bad, man. You need to let that go, brah. And I'm angry and I wish I wasn't. I wish I wasn't because I can compassionate what it's like to be in that mindset. But when you own a business, it becomes so much harder to see through that. It becomes so much harder to consider why that's even valid. And what I was hoping to get yesterday was some feedback over why we want this, over why we want this lowest common denominator to be placed on a pedestal as the most optimal thing that we have to protect. I've heard people say that, well, this is the only way people would share. But we don't have an issue with people not sharing. Most of the time, our airships run over. People are sharing fine. I don't think it's that. I think that it's this fetish for hyena culture. I think it's a fetish for thinking that pride is bad, that reputation is bad, that holding people accountable is bad. And I think it's convenient because it saves ourselves calories. I really had a hard time looking at the chat because all that was skipped over. Modern comes in and places some other thoughts in reference to things that we've discussed before, and all of the love is thrown on there. But there's this big issue that's still there. And it's an issue that's been brought up by someone that, quite frankly, has a lot more seniority over most of you because he's just been here since day one, trying to figure out why people are so fucked, why there's so much bad behavior. And I don't think it's fair because you don't know the history. You don't know what has happened. No, more importantly, it's not your business. You don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about who has to sweep up or who throws up in the bathroom or why we would even maybe want to figure out who's throwing up in the bathroom. I think some of you were like, why do you need to figure that out? And it's like, because I love my business, because I love my airship. If you guys are like, hey, I would pull over and someone asked me for a ride and they had a hood on, I would let them in my car. I'd have my kids in the back and it'd be fine. I don't know if you belong here. I don't know if this is the right place for you. I feel like I've created the wrong airship after looking at the reactions yesterday. And I think I'm irrational right now. I think I'm a little bit pissy. I've I'm just not feeling my full health. So I'm just saying I'm trying to compassionate why I have such intense feelings about this. I think mostly because I still feel robbed from what happened last time, and it's happened over and over again. A man who we can only call sarcastic warlock, that's the only thing we can do is call him that, was able to utilize anonymity to come in here. He was able to collect and download all of the airships and upload them and send them to another person who's a shock jock. And that person used the content from these airships on his show and just made fun of the physical appearance of everyone that was in the airship. And all these people were under the impression that this was anonymous, that these things were protected. And I thought they were protected because we had them behind a paywall. I've been told that, well, I didn't spend enough on the paywall. I should have had super secret paywall. And all of my patron money should have gone into preserving the anonymity of people by paying even more money to make sure that no one would ever, ever, ever be held accountable for what they say. And the whole time I'm wondering, why am I supporting a place where people would never be held accountable for what they say? More importantly, how are you, the anonymous person, able to grow if you're not afraid of what you'd say? America is the land of the free, which means people believe that they are free to say whatever they want. And that's just not true. What you learn when you learn to sharpen your tongue is that every word you say actually has consequences. It's quite the opposite of the land of the free. This is a place where hopefully you will learn that words are expensive, that beliefs are expensive, that forming a reputation, keeping a fire of your own pride, you're a tribe of one, This tribe has a reputation. You're going to be able to unite with others and build bonds with others based on this very specific thing called reputation. We live in a culture where we hate social credit scores. I love social credit score. I don't think I'd be able to digest without one. I want to hold you accountable. I want to exercise forgiveness. It makes me compassionate you more precisely because I know your reputation. I don't need a perfect credit score. I want to watch someone climbing the ladder. If you're climbing the ladder at 321, that's your credit score. Or if you're climbing the ladder at 852, I'll tell you something. If you're at 321, it's going to be more entertaining. I'm going to be rooting for you more. The person at 821 is going to be making so subtle mistake that they wouldn't even come up in Airship, be less productive. So when I envision what we're trying to do with Airship, and I don't know what, we've recently discussed, should we release these? We have been releasing them on a separate channel that's taken months to set up, that we're paying money for Epidemic Sounds for some music to, that, and that we're trying to get monetized and could be taken away by an anonymous person who just says a word on the air that's wrong. And that we're doing all this battle, we're doing all this fight, and I don't want the hero to be an anonymous person. I'm not interested in pedestalizing your anonymity. I think your anonymity is cowardice. I think you're hiding something. I think if you're walking into a business and you want a hood over your fucking eyes, it's because you do not want to be held accountable for what you've done in the past. It doesn't mean you're bad. It means that you're weak. It means that you lack ego. It means that you lack the ability to defend yourself, but you still want to throw stones. I feel like I messed up. I kind of feel like I don't know if we should even have Airship. I think this is dramatic. I think it's the crazy T cells that are flowing through my body right now. My recent injury where I fell off the porch has been reinvigorated, and I feel that I've entered into a new state of healing. To be honest, it feels like pain, but I've actually been like, this is actually a topic I wanted to bring up last time, so I'm kind of mixing it here. So I'll stop. I don't want to mix it on that. I think there's a lot already that I've given you to think about, maybe even reply to. I love you guys. I don't want to lose what I do. I don't want to isolate anyone. I don't want to lose patrons. I really want the Airship to stay afloat, but I don't know how we can do it. I don't know how healthy it is to watch the mentality be so nonchalant, but still lean in the way of let's be hyena. I don't think that anyone who is a hyena is ever going to be able to admit that this is hyena. Do you understand? I just don't think it's possible. That kind of butt crack is really hard to look at. It's an advanced 821 credit score where you're looking back at your own hyena going, holy shit, look at my back butt crack there. I do not want you to feel bad for being anonymous. Some of you are going to internalize this and say, I failed and I should never have done that. I'm sorry that that's where it is. It means I can't even say this, but it bothers me. You're looking at someone that I'm just sort of like, what the fuck did I do? Because it seems like all I did is recreate the very thing that Sark was able to do. And he implemented so much damage. When I say damage, many people left the Airship because they believed in the tenets of hyena, and they actually accused me of doxing him. I doxed him because I used his first name. I pulled his mask up, and I wanted everyone to see. And I was held accountable for that. I was told that I was the bad person because I wasn't respecting the hyena anonymity of it all. And I saw a corrosion that I frankly didn't know was there. I was in denial about. I thought I was a good guy because I was like, hey, no one should be pressured to show themselves. And I can't think of one single meetup, one single event. I can't imagine owning a ship and letting someone on board. I can't imagine owning a bar and letting someone come inside. I can't imagine owning a salon and doing the same. I can't imagine picking someone up on the side of the road who's maybe has a flat tire and making sure that at no point did they ever have to show me their face. It makes me feel kind of insane to even think I was entertaining that. And I think we're covered in insanity right now. And I find it disgusting. And I'm judging you all. And I'm sorry. I don't think it's cool, man. I don't think that my behavior is cool on this. And I kind of want to pull the plug on Airship because I think, I don't know if this is even possible. I don't know if it's possible to find people that would unanimously want to have reputation, that would unanimously want to have pride. Because the second that we see how important it is that someone needs to be shy, I see that this is how hyena enter the door. All they have to do is be humble. Humble and shy are the same energy. It's the same posture. You're going to have to lay on your belly. And if you're laying on your belly, there's really nowhere to fall. There's no such thing as bad behavior on your belly, guys. There's really no such thing at that point. So there's a lot of like, oh, I'm I'm being all mad. And there's a lot of, hey, we're gonna make you pay for that and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of, I don't want you to watch how all the things that we have to do or have had to do in the past to preserve it. I'm still mad that I said a long time ago, hey, you have to stay for the whole airship. And now people are like Yesenia, you said the other day, I wanted to come to Airship, but I knew that I'd be leaving early, and that would be wrong, and that's not what I said. What I said was we tried to create a rule because a drunk guy kept doing that. I don't think you're a drunk guy, Yesenia. I think you're a deep fucking thinker, and I think a deep thinker has the privilege to come in and say, "Hey, I want to say this, but I have to go early. I hope that's okay." And then maybe people going, "Yeah, go ahead, Yesenia." And then you say what you want to say. That's what I want. I want someone that doesn't need rules. But if I say there's no rules, I'm watching people in the chat saying, yeah, man, I'm all for everyone being anonymous because that's the nice thing to do. And so I don't know how to do this. I don't even think it's possible because of that. Because if I define a rule, you're going to take it literally. I'm not saying you, Yesenia, if you're, I hope you're okay with this. But it's thank you, babe. Appreciate it. I'm getting verklempt, but it's like it's so hard because I don't want you to have rules. But when I watch some of you guys exercise the hyena like this, I'm truly disappointed. I truly am. And I don't mean that disappointment like shame on you, but I do, but only if you have that 820 credit score where you're like, fuck, I got some shame today. This is great. I'm going to up my patron budget because this is what I came for. I don't know why you're here. I don't want to pretend that this is why you're here. More importantly, I don't want to insist that this is the only way. I'm just telling you what I see now. And it is not a good thing. And it's only not a good thing because of all the previous stuff. Now, Pi, I just threw your chat into this. I put my own thoughts on it. I said, this is how I feel. I don't mean to say this is how you feel, Pi. If you want to step in and say, say what you thought or what you said initially in chat, that's welcome too. I'm going to try as hard as I can to listen. I'm going to try as hard as I can to try and forget that some of you are internalizing this and there's no coming back from that. You're just going to internalize it and there's nothing I can do. Even though I've tried to like reach you, it's just going to be impossible. And this is why I think maybe Airship isn't possible because there's really no way. If I put a rule on it, you're going to take it too literally. If I don't put a rule on it, you're just going to have hyena. Last Airship, a guy was in here called Administrator. That was his name. Administrator. How do you fucking do that? Like, how do we go there? How do we even, I don't know, except for maybe we shouldn't do it. I love what we're doing, but I don't know how to pull it together in the right way. I'm either going to be a bad guy, I'm going to get punished for it, or it's going to be something where you guys are going to feel you can't share anymore because you're afraid. Thomas, I keep letting you in. I don't know why that keeps happening. But anyway, oh, well, big mouth fart there. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Airship 9.3. It's stirred up a lot of memories of the past. In fact, some of you, I'm remembering behavior that I completely forgot. It just shows you how much shittier behavior is out there that allows me to forget other behavior because there's only certain behavior that I can remember. And the fact that I'm remembering old behavior now reminds me, fuck, I'm doing it too. I'm supporting the hyena too because I'm not holding accountability enough, but I just lose so many calories trying to hold people accountable. And I don't think I should have to do it. I think it's the one privilege I should have in here is that we don't want James to fucking be the bartender or the bouncer. We want James to be the dude that's just fucking cranking out authenticity, saying what he wants. But when we set it up like this, I don't know any other way around it except for to make someone like Renee the bad person. And it's just going to burn people out like that. She'd be the only one that's like, oh, I got to fucking be the bouncer around here. And the whole time I'm watching Renee wiping people's noses. And I'm like, why does she have to do that? What, how is this better? And I asked this directly in chat, and I don't think I got a good answer. Instead, we just moved on to the next thing. It's like, why fucking answer? And that's what a hyena would say. He wouldn't say a thing. That's all I got. Except for I'm sorry for the intensity here. But it's real.
It's appropriate and timely. I keep on putting, I think it's Thomas something in the waiting room because I don't know who they are. And they seem like they're taking notes and recording. So I don't know
That's
who that is.
modern. Yeah,
Oh, is
that's
that Mott?
yeah, he goes by modern, but his name is actually Thomas, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that if I just doxed him. I'm fucking sorry. I don't know what to call you fucks.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. Stick with one thing. Do not mix it up. I just don't like it because I will take you out if I don't know who you are. And it was a little cryptic as well. I didn't like that either. And we still have some that one guy coming in. I think he left now, but yeah, it's something I have to pay a lot of attention to, guys. So I really want to see some faces and see some acknowledgement of who you are. It's I want to enjoy myself as well. So, please, because it's just like, don't be such a coward is a word we're throwing around. And I love cows because that's Hathor, but you can kind of like go a couple different ways with this. And we got a lot of hands up. I am going to tell you, I have to bounce at about 10:15, James, to do a little transporting. So I'm going to let you know, but I will be on the road and back before the end. Sorry for that update, but I just want to let you know now. We
That's good.
have,
Then this is fine, Renee, and that's going to happen again. I don't I don't know if I'm going to be able to be mod because of this discussion if you leave in the middle.
okay.
And so I hate to do this, Cameron, but do you think you could pull this off if needed?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
that's
got
fine.
it. Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much, Cameron. I know you got my back. I really appreciate that. All right, we got Yesenia. I know hands have gone up and down, but Yesenia was the first one that was up and it's been up solidly. So there you go.
Hi everyone. Well, first, I am looking again at my response to Pi's thing, and I can see where, I did condone it. And you're right, I don't know what happened in the past. I've gotten glimpse of what's happened through like live streams and such that I've revisited. So I I'm new, so I'm just trying to come and represent myself in a very lighthouse kind of way. Like I understand that there's darkness all around us, so I'm just trying to shine light. And I understand that it comes off as I'm condoning this behavior. And given what was just said, like I agree with it. And I don't mean to backpedal, but yeah, I do also see anonymous people on the live stream, so I've assumed that that behavior is okay as well. So I'm trying to understand the whole being free, but also, having boundaries within freedom. And I guess that's just my own thing to learn within my ego. So I'm on the ladder. I'm learning. Maybe I do have like a 320 social credit score, and I have to work on it. And about the whole leaving thing, like, yeah, I did internalize it, but at the same time, again, like, I want to show up with the most amount of respect because I have seen, disrespectful actions in this airship, and I want to just come here with the most clean energy. And that's what I have for right now.
Thank you, Yesenia. I noticed that you've been around since 2019. You have been following James's work for longer than I have. So I kind of was, I know you haven't followed it as closely, but considering you've been around so long, not to see kind of maybe where James was coming from and as far as anonymity, and I know you didn't track it as closely and you weren't on Patreon, I didn't see you in Telegram, but you can probably see why he came out like, hey, why are we thinking this is cool? So I kind of looked at you a little bit like she probably knew, but maybe you felt like you had to lean in and kind of conform a little bit. I don't know. We all have this that and there's different ranges of ages here too that really taken a lot more years of some that we've had experience. So we do have, I'm 56. I do have more experience in things than say you do. You're as old as my kids, which I love that you're here. I so love that you're here. It's so great. But you know, that's just a factor. But I really do. Yeah, it's a tightrope, and we're learning how to balance. Okay, Adrian, go ahead.
Say I'm going to try to lean into this with courage, but that is not my strong suit. I know that the dojo transformed into the airship, and maybe just putting a big axe on the airship isn't the way to go. It might be time to just transform it again. The group meetings have been around since 2020, and I've participated on and off here for a long time, and it's been a whirlwind of emotions for me, the ups and the downs, but I just last night was thinking to myself, I don't think there's any other way that I would have wanted to spend my late 30s except doing it the way I did with the group of people that came and went. I wrote some more thoughts down. I'll try to just post them in the chat versus just reading it here because it sounds a little rehearsed and whatnot whenever I just read my notes. But as far as the anonymity goes, it's something I did write was it's almost a lie you tell little kids that you have anonymous nowadays. This world is set up in such a manner that you are not really offered the kind of privacy that you think you have. And it's good to be alone with your thoughts, but in the real world, if a stranger walked up to me in the streets, I would treat you a certain way. And it's the same way in these meeting rooms. If you're a stranger and you walk up to me here, and I can't see your face, I'll treat you accordingly, like I don't know you. And I kind of think I'm getting a little off track of what I'm trying to say here. Just kind of wanted to turn on the camera, say hi, like I do sometimes. It is good to see you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate you chiming in. Um, you know, and if I think past to the past of the split with the sarcastic crowd, I do remember you leaning into that group as the split went, and I noticed you were, you know, within that chat of Sark talking to Brandon Bonanza, I think, and you seem to be having a good time. So after that big, you know, crack tower moment, you were kind of working both camps, I saw in the beginning. And that's where I was like, what's she up to? She's not being very genuine right now. And maybe you were gone for a while and came back. I don't really remember the flow, but that's where I've seen you as a bit of a concern in regards to kind of like, why is she hanging over there? Now, granted, this was in 2023, right after everything went down, but that was been my issue with you not being kind of honest about having a wrench in that live chat meeting with Sark and Brandon. So that's why I just haven't heard you kind of explain that to me, and how like you're just kind of like here, like this is all normal. I've sensed you kind of changing and you know kind of being more comfortable here, and probably that over there. I don't know what's going on, but that's where I think maybe Pi and I have a bit of an issue. Um, and I enjoy you being here. I just want to bring that to the field because that's what I've been holding with in regards to you. Do you have a response to that?
I do. I can respond. I don't want a wrench. I don't want that kind of responsibility. Back then, I didn't want a wrench. Uh, oh, my hyena comes out sometimes. She's terrible. Like she's absolutely terrible. Like I will get on a roll with humor, and I find that humor is not merited in sometimes in some situations, and other times I'm pretty sure that laughter will fix everything, but what makes me laugh will not make another person laugh. I have always had a hard time letting people go when they want to leave here. I want to stay friends with people when they leave because there's friendships, there's bonds, and when they get angry and they storm out of the room, I just I want to tell them to come back. Wait, just talk it out. Just work it. let's figure it out, you know? And I talked to both camps, and I always have. I've always talked to both camps, and I always give the same explanation. And it's, I don't want my friends to dictate who my other friends are. And if that is a problem, then you have to set that boundary. And I've been booted out of here a few times and booted out of there. It just is what it is. I don't like letting people go. That's pretty much it on it.
That's pretty common. I can compassionate that for sure. I guess it was just such a stark bullshit story that Sark told to completely fuck with James that people believed, and he wouldn't even tell you his name. So I don't understand the loyalty to someone who wouldn't tell you the names, told an overt lie about James sending people to his property to fuck with his kids. Like, if you believe that, I question a lot of what you believe. So
Well,
that's where I come in with that.
when all of that was going on, that was 2023.
Huh?
Backstory for me. I was kind of on the fringes and only able to half pay attention to what was going on. And sometimes I almost feel like that's still what I do to this day. In 2022, I left my home of 8 years with one bag of clothing on my back. And so to give the kind of what was on my back and in the one bag of clothing. Sorry, I don't really like to rehash things because you start getting into the same emotional state that you were in when those things occurred. And I did not have enough time to devote to figuring out what was truly going on between all the party members in the group. It looked like a big clustercluck. And I, it just looked like a ton of crown scribbles everywhere and trying to figure out what was up and what was down. It wasn't what was going on in my life. My life was still basically, do I walk to the grocery store to figure out how to get a bag of groceries back home? Like, I don't have the extra calories to keep up with everything going on. I really truly don't. I didn't then, I don't now. I'm starting to get better about it now, definitely. I'm in a much more stable place and a much more stable relationship. But I don't know everything that, transpired. And my record keeping skills are gonna differ from everybody else because where I took notes, definitely I wrote it down differently. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a big energy of just like obfuscation and blame game and a big old tantrum because a wrench was taken away. So I guess you not being necessarily within that. I don't know you were there, but you were definitely involved in the telegram and all that type of stuff. So I mean, that's to your own to consider. I mean, that's where I'm coming from. Just telling you where I'm coming from, and uh, and so there's yeah there's it's an interesting thing to consider. And yeah, it's just I'm glad that this is out there. Pi, hi there. Go right ahead.
Well, hello everyone. Can you hear my voice any
Yes,
better since I moved my
yeah.
microphone?
If you can talk a little bit louder, Pi, that might help. You're a little bit quiet, but maybe be a little bit more high. Yeah, try that.
It's
Or a
not
little closer.
quiet. I can try to move it closer. Um, it is a little embarrassing that I can't get my sound better since I do have some really nice microphones. I just don't have a USB cord to XLR. But anyway, well, of course I've done a lot of thinking and dreaming since I don't have any weed, which I really wish I had some right now. Or maybe not. I had some horrible nightmares where I thought about some things in my nightmares. But one thing that occurred to me is that looking back on the early dojo, being literally the only person that's still here that never left, literally the last man standing, it's like we're looking back on a time of consciousness, and we can't understand it already, you know. And here we are studying consciousness through a portal of mythology, and we can't even look back on our own time, right? Maybe that's the hardest thing to look at. You know, I was never a part of the Telegram group. And even though I know there's people that have been here a long time, they weren't part of the dojo and did not partake in the dojo. And so I don't think if you weren't there, it's going to be difficult for you to understand, and it's also going to be difficult for somebody that was there to explain it to you. It's not as evident as you would think. Like with Adrian, I know we've had some harsh words in the dojo, but you know, you lost my trust because you left and you hung out with the hyenas and then came back. But I still try to compassionate you, and I know you're very witty, and I think satire is a very, very powerful magic that you have. I don't necessarily have it except in my own mind. As far as my appeal to hear from some more anonymous people, I guess that was in reference to, we tried to go public and then everybody freaked out and said, no, you can't. And we did not have unanimous consent. And so I look at this as an attempt to see if we can have a unanimous consent and do something like the Iroquois did. It's not very easy, is it? Gives you a glimpse into what they might have been dealing with, and I have high respect for those people. They set an example, and it would behoove the Airship to use that example and try to see if we can, wouldn't you want to at least try it out here, you know? If you want to understand it, wouldn't we want to try that? And we've talked about trust before. It's kind of a finite experience that can't easily be fixed. But I don't know of any other place where, like this, where people have left and come back, and we've tried to compassionate as many different points of view, even with all the hyenaing, and there's been kind of different eras, and I think that people tend to lump everything together into one big thing, which it is, but I don't think that's a very easy thing to grasp. I think we could spend the rest of our lives talking about it and still not have an answer. And I just sensed that if this was going to work, that, you know, there's some things that need to be figured out so that we can move forward. And if you, like James said, if you don't want to show your face, you can listen, you know, if you're in a listening position. The one-way witness is not as satisfying to me. When you can see somebody's face, it's different. I don't honestly know what a person can get out of it just sitting in the sidelines and watching. The dilation for me did not come from that. It came from my voice. I'm not a experienced speaker. Virtually everyone in this room is a better speaker than me. So it's not my strong suit. And, you know, Thomas, I can totally relate to you, you know, and I can totally see why maybe we're a little at odds, you know, not just because of Adrian, but, you know, I had a younger brother that was a debate champion, and I refused to engage in that format, but I would point out his flaws. And just like with chess, he would read books and he was able to beat me, and I refused to read books, even though I knew it could make me a better chess player, and I would claim that I was still better. And that's the way I am, you know. I'm not going to come in here and say I've read every book in the Library of Alexandria. That's not how I do things. And that's how I've tried to explain how I do things. I just cut to the chase, right? I have a rising up of information that comes to me that's pertinent in a place and time. So I don't need to read all the books, you know? I need you guys to read all the books so that I can have that, right? I'm standing on the shoulders of everyone here and all their learnedness, not just James. You know, where do you think that comes from? It doesn't come out of my mind. How could something that I haven't even read in a book come out of my own mind? It's coming out of your minds. It shows that we're communing on some level, and that's valuable to me. And why people would complain about the world and then treat a place like this the way that they treat it is beyond me. And I'm not just talking about the people like Sark. I'm talking about everyone here. You know, it's everyone here could probably use a reminder of, you know, some type of respectfulness without making rules. Like, you know, we don't like to make rules, but, you know, everybody can have their own form of respect if it's felt inside, and I think that that can be seen. Like we talked in the very beginning, James called it a macaroni sculpture. Everybody wanted to come in and share everything they'd learned with everybody else, and share their worldview and everything they'd studied and everything they learned. And sometimes people say, you know, they're having a meeting of like-minded individuals, but I did not find that. I found that everybody was not like-minded. Everybody was different. And so being like-minded isn't what brings us together. It's something more elusive. I can't even say that I know what it is. And so I wanted the airship to fly, but I know that there's lots of animosity towards me. You know, even in the beginning, people used to, you haven't seen the comments, but I remember, I don't have a photographic memory, but I remember what I need to when I need to. And people were saying things like, without naming me, they were saying that members of the dojo weren't up to par with James and that he should be hanging out with more high caliber people, basically. And then that devolved to, nice to see you live streaming again, you know, this backhanded way of saying, don't do the airship anymore. And just, you know, went on in many different ways. It was very obvious. But since those people are screamers in the trees, you never get to respond to them. And so it puts you in a tough situation. And so my appeal is to try to avoid some of these problems, not to make rules about whether you're anonymous or not, but just to have a discussion about maybe some of the things we've run into before so we can learn from it and try to improve on it in some way, or just, move forward. I don't want to scrap the airship, and I don't necessarily want to leave the airship, but I want to, being the only person that's still here, I have to beg the question to myself, like, there's so much baggage towards me. I don't, you know, I don't enjoy being a scapegoat, although I agree with Amel that it's a powerful position. Um, and so I think I've said enough. I've given the gist of, you know, what I think about it, and I'm certainly willing to answer questions as I always have been, even though almost no one has ever asked me any questions, pretty much considering over the time period. There's been almost zero questions and mostly complete judgment, and is what I've experienced. So I'll stop here because I don't want to use up the whole airship. But
Well, thank you, Pi. I wanted to add something to what you said, which I wanted to add it because it's a minor point of everything you said, but it's an important one. Unanimous government means that technically it means we don't actually have any rules because all of us have the power to veto, right? So you could write down rules, but if truly everyone is sovereign, then anyone can veto. So the rules they're just there for fluff. And I think honestly it's a look at how weak the group is when you start to formulate rules. One of those is the idea of you have to show your face. The rule would mean that you have to show your face all the time, and that no matter what, if you're an airship, you have to keep the camera in front of you, and that's the only way to do it. And if you're going to take that literally, this is the only way you're going to be able to understand it. Another way is that you have to establish something that can be limbically imprinted on someone so that if they turn their camera off, you can still picture their face. You can see me right the fuck now. All of you can see me right now. And you can do that because I burned into your limbic celestial sphere a constellation called James True. And all the goodness that you hear, you get to put into that constellation, and all the badness you hear, you get to put in that constellation. And I can come and go and come and go whenever the fuck I want because I'm a sovereign being. But James, this violates the rule of showing your face. No, it doesn't. It violates the rule of you taking things literally, of you not understanding. Honestly, of you not understanding how pathetic it is that we even have to say this. How many of you would be in the people of the Longhouse during Turtle Island times when this strange things are happening, these tribes from across the sea are coming in, and all of a sudden people just start showing up with hoods over their face, and they sit down next to you, next to your kids, and want to have a council meeting. There's not a rule that says you have to do that, but yet everyone would know this is fucked up. Do you know why they'd know? Because of ego. They'd know because it didn't feel right. They'd know because I'm not able to digest this wonderful meal because I'm sitting next to this fuck who won't take his hood off. That's the only reason why you'd know. So these rules are supposed to be unspoken. And it means that you will violate them and you will suffer the consequences of the shame and the butt crack of having other people call you out and say, hey, you fucking violated this rule. Good for you. Oh my God, someone held you accountable for something. God forbid. This is what you want. This is the only place you'll fucking get that. Because everywhere else you'll get polite bullshit. Or you'll get people just scrolling past what Pi typed and just going, I'm not going to. It's the only place. And so the reason why I'm like, I don't even know if we should do airship is quite frankly, is because of this. If we have a group where I have to keep telling you that maybe we need a rule, probably shouldn't have that group. It should probably be self-evident. And if you don't have if you don't have the compassionary strength to understand what self-evident means, because it's a symbiotic thing, it's not an objective thing. You're not going to be able to come in here with an objective idea of what the rules are. You're going to fail every time. You're going to come in and you're going to go, hey, why do I feel weird? And then you're going to start to notice, oh, my name's administrator. That's weird. Maybe I should look to change that. And some of you are going to be like, I don't fucking know how to change Zoom. And for 3 weeks, you've been trying to change it and go, how do I fucking change my name? And you don't know how either. And then you're suffering the brunt of pressure of people who are looking at you oddly because you will not just like put your fucking name on the screen. And I say, that's good. That's not bad. That's good. Feel the pressure of that. Fucking feel it. What's wrong with feeling pressure? What's wrong with having that kind of experience? It's a meal. These are things that should be put on our badge that we're proud of. It took me a month to change my name, and I felt like shit until I could do it. That's growth. That means you're in the dojo. It means you have this insight later on when someone starts to say, like what happened with the Watcher. Imagine how hard this is for Renee. A dude named the Watcher came in. Great guy, still a patron, truck driver. I just happen to know who it is. Why? Because he burned limbically his face for me. So when I see him, I know who it is. I don't need him to be anonymous. Meanwhile, Renee's like, how do I deal with all this weirdness that keeps coming in? People come in, they're one name one day, the next name the next day, the next name the next name. Is the literal rule meaning you can't change the name? How many of you think I just said you can never change your name? Because that's taking it literally, right? That's taking it literally. And there'd be no way that I can educate you on what this means because it's self-evident, right? So Modern can change his name to Tom. I don't actually have a beef with him going by Modern. It just makes it bumpy for everyone because they have to burn more calories to reset their constellation to create the new constellation that used to be Modern that's now Tom. Is that a sin? No. Is it sort of a faux pas? I hope so. I just hope so. That's all. It would be no different than if I was to do the same. It'd be like, guys, I'm going by Jemmy now. I realize that's tricky. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna call me James a few times. And that's my ego because that's how much I want to change my name. I don't get to change my name because it's free. I get to change my name because it's going to cost a little bit. It's going to make me feel a little awkward. And that's how bad I want to change my name. Do you understand? This is self-evident. It's self-evident. And there's no way to be self-evident unless you have a self. It's just impossible to do that. That's all I got. Pie's really good stuff. A lot of it. I hope I didn't diminish it to that, but I need you to understand what unanimous government means. If we need rules, this group is not going to make it. It's just not.
Oh shit.
Well said, James. Cosmic, you're unmuted currently. Or if you have something to say immediately, go for it.
Yeah, I'm not good at the technology part of things. So how do I put a face image or any of that stuff or my name up or whatever? Because I'm usually at work when you guys are on.
Sure, your face is up, your hand is raised. Why don't you go ahead and go? Brad, I'll go to you next after that, okay? But before I go, Cosmic, you begin. Pi, I looked at your comment, and I wasn't sure exactly what you guys were complaining, what the complaint was as far as the anonymity. Tom and his work. I don't know. Let's just let's go to Brad real quick. Or no, I'm sorry, Cosmic, you go ahead.
Yeah, the anonymous thing, it didn't really ever occur to me that, you didn't feel witnessed as well. And so that's a big thing. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll put my face on the video. I'm just usually at work when we have the airships because I work long hours. And here's my face. And but yeah, I appreciate everything, especially Pi. I like the rants. They usually go down somewhere that I haven't thought about before, so I'm always a fan of that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Thank you.
And yeah, as James mentioned, everyone's going to have a tendency to internalize these critiques. Um, Whenever Pi mentioned, having to deal with anonymous people throwing barbs at him, I've felt the same thing, Pi. I feel like people will maybe throw barbs at the group in sideways, where like the critiques you mentioned, like, oh, I'm glad to have you back on the live stream, or things that might insinuate that this is all beneath James, which I appreciate the effort, and not because we all are like-minded and agree. But I do also think that we are getting to taste a little bit of what James has to deal with on a day-to-day basis, dealing with anonymous people, which I know James maybe is on a different level, and so he has to um, deal with that stuff in a different manner. But I didn't comment, Pi, on your request for no more anonymity with people who are engaging in Airship, but I did hear you. Brad, are you ready to go?
Actually, let me stop for a sec.
Sure.
Cameron,
Tom
I'm not
was-
sure. I'm not sure if you see the order correctly on the hand raise, but from what I see, Tom is first, Yesenia is next, Adrian's third, and Brad's fourth. So maybe it's being flipped. I just wanted to let you know. Sorry, guys, I just put Cameron on the spot today, asking to mod. So please be patient, and just wanted to point that out. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And I do now I see an order here in the participants, and I do see that order. Okay, so thank you, Tom. Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess on the question of anonymity, um, what I'll say for this is, not everyone feels comfortable or strong enough to expose themselves. Hence the reason I think for the choosing to try to be anonymous, and trying to find an identity that works for them within the group itself. Um, I opted to just run with my name in here. I believe since I actually became engaging with the group itself, with Airship, um, every time we have an airship, I'm on camera unless I'm walking away. All right. Um, every time. Um, as far as Pi's comments and his reach out and everything, I really didn't see much response past mine initially, and I didn't take my response to it beyond to address what I thought might be leading to whatever it is to Pi's perception that he and I are somehow at odds. Um, I can tell you from my end of things, I'm not at odds with anyone here at all. Pi, Brad, you, James, no one. I am not at odds with anyone. Um, that all being said, um, from what I took from the initial reach out there was that Pi felt like people were hostile to him and were not wanting to engage with him. And I guess I don't see it. But I'm not Pi. I'm not Pi. I don't know what he's thinking exactly. I don't know what he's feeling. I don't know what his perceptions are. Um, and I would love to know more about exactly what it is, like what behaviors that he's seeing that have him feeling, for lack of a better way, ostracized. And if you go back and you read what was in there, it comes across very much as he is expressing that he feels like he's being somehow ostracized. Um, this all being said, let me ask this. What exactly, beyond people having to relearn who is who and associate names with faces when people are changing their avatars and their names consistently, um, beyond that, what exactly is the issue with being anonymous? The people who do speak, for the most part, do show themselves on camera, and I guess I haven't seen um, any disrespectful behavior, and perhaps I'm just missing things, or perhaps the way that I am interpreting things is not as disrespectful behavior, but other people are. And I would greatly welcome and enjoy it if somebody would give me some examples here so I can curb my own behaviors.
I think
I think
if you
James,
play
maybe
play Airship again, and this time listen, Modern or Tom, sorry, but if you replay the Airship from the beginning, I said that, made it pretty fucking clear. I literally defined here's the problem with anonymity. I used it to describe what it's like to own a business, what it's like to operate a boat, what it's like to drive a car, what it's like. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like I said it so clearly, and I even apologize for being too harsh about it. So maybe re-listen, but like really focus. Just shut everything else off and just listen to what I said.
No,
It should be self-evident, Tom.
I
It really
got
needs
what
to
you
be
were.
self-evident. And I hear we could the time to debate this, I think would have been yesterday in chat, honestly. We can debate it now, but I just feel like, wow, I don't even know what the point of saying it again is. Cause fuck, man, I just poured out my fucking heart telling you, here's all the problems with being anonymous. And none of them involved you needing to understand who I was or where I am or how I grew up. None of that. It's just fucking just listening. So maybe listen to this recording again, because I feel like it's there.
I understood what you were saying, and I guess my thing on that, with as far as going as a business goes and everything, are you telling me that I guess I don't get the people who are actually coming in and buying something and contributing, they are not being anonymous. I do not believe that they are being anonymous. And the people who are choosing to be anonymous are they're window shopping, for lack of a better way
I
of putting it.
Yeah, and I'll say it again. I think you should listen again. I just do. I think you should just listen again. It's not that hard. Just listen again. If we want to bring it up again, we can, but I feel like that said. I, I I can't even think of an example where this would be even like the norm anywhere. Where seriously, where it's the norm that you could just walk through the mall with a ski mask on. You don't have to be a customer. You don't have to be a customer to know that if someone sits next to your dog and you don't know who the fuck they are, you're going to be a little bit more nervous. Not because you don't know their name, but because they are hiding their face from you. If this isn't self evident and you don't have the time to go back and listen again, I don't know if it's ever going to sink in. And you don't need to own a business to do it. It may just be you're just not ready for that. There is a certain love of communism which does believe, hey, we want things anonymous. We want things to be this way. And that's a beautiful model. I don't want to build that model. It's just not something I'm interested in. So I hope that helps, but I really wish that when I tell you to listen to that again, I really wish you'd take that to heart and go, you know what? Maybe I didn't actually hear that. Like maybe I should try that again.
Thank you, James. Um, I think there's some historical context, Tom, that I'm a little surprised that you're not aware of, and that's been mentioned, as James said earlier on in the meeting. Uh, but with your closeness to Adrian, I think you're also close to Stephen as well. Or I feel like he almost introduced you into the group, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I might be wrong about that. But I do feel like there's a cultural or I'm just going to risk being wrong. I'm usually the guy that likes to try to be polite, but I feel like there might be a cultural dearth as far as in what's desired. But that's all fine because again, we're not here to be like-minded necessarily, and outside of your kind of objective mentality, I like to celebrate anyone's desire to be creative. Yesenia, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanna add like these airships, like they're crucial. Like I feel like I've been slammed on the map. Like honestly, like I need that. I need that for my growth. Like that's kind of why we're here. And I feel pollinated right now. And this week I also screwed up, like I call my job a dojo. I screwed up in that dojo. So I feel like I don't know what it is astrologically or the energy or the prana is going on right now, but I do feel icky, be like, I can't seem to do or say anything right. And then even hearing all of y'all, like, what is right? Why am I trying to constantly do what's right or follow a rule and also just not be majoritarian? That's kind of just paradoxical within me, and I need to like really work on that. So I just feel like this airship has been very like educational for me. Like even looking back at what I said on Pi's chat, and I was very like, oh, this is okay, and I'm not anonymous, so I'm okay. You know, I'm cleansed from my sins, which that was also kind of selfish. So, you know, I I really thank you. Just thank you everyone that's participated today, because I could kind of see where I've gone wrong and what I could do to be, you know, better with how I articulate myself and how I even just, you know, process my thoughts. So thank you.
You, Yesenia, I always appreciate what you contribute, and I've been really loving what you brought to Airship 2.0.
I liked your comment about paprika because I do struggle with using too much paprika, and but I always encourage people to develop a taste for smoked paprika in their cooking. So I found that appropriate. Right on, Yesenia. And
Yeah, paprika,
I didn't,
paprika.
I didn't really consider all of y'all as the anonymous people necessarily, although I did want everyone to weigh in. And so the only anonymous person that responded was Anon 347, which the only way I have of associating with them is that to me 347 is the rib cage, and so they're a disembodied spirit by their very name. It means disembodied spirit. So maybe that's what they prefer. Um, but like James said, he just answered no. So the only truly anonymous person only answered no. So there's been one word in response. Very disappointing to me that none of the actual anonymous people, but it's interesting that all the people that aren't anonymous responded and felt like they were being anonymous, which I wasn't even speaking to that. I was speaking to the actual people. And to Tom, I'd like to say, we're phrasing this in the context of the airship. I don't, if somebody's a member of Patreon and doesn't come to the airship, sure, they're supporting it, but we're talking about the airship. We're talking about here. This is the tent, right? This is the Iroquois Confederation. It's not watching the live stream is not the Iroquois Confederation, right? Participation is needed. Discussion is needed. Questions must be asked. Actions must be judged. Faces must be seen at some time if you want to have this. So do we want to have it? Is it too much? I would hate to think that the effort is too much. At least make the effort. That's all.
Thank you, Pi. Adrian?
Looking back at recordings of myself speaking is educational for me. I'm going on in the same vein as Yesenia and was already there before she started speaking. But when I look back, I know there's things that I thought I got out, things that I've said in my mind that I thought I verbalized. And it's one of my biggest frustrations about speaking in the group is because I thought I conveyed a message. I thought I conveyed what it was I was trying to say. And that just takes time and practice in order to be able to eloquently do those things. I know that. It's one of my major frustrations with myself speaking is because I think I've made something clear and I oversimplify things. I oversimplify things to the point to where people can come in and write their own words on what it was I was trying to say. And paint a different picture from what I was trying to paint. I was trying to paint red skies and they painted purple, and that's my mistake. And I, as I grow older, am trying to quit simplifying the things I say because I don't want to be misconstrued. And memory is a shaky bridge sometimes of you think you have remembered something clearly, but after you have replayed it in your mind 8 times, I feel as if sometimes you put a little detail over here that wasn't there before, and it looks a little prettier now. So you're able to store it a little better. That's all I got. Good, guys. Go.
I think
Thanks.
this is part of why it is terrifying to speak. And this is part of why free speech is a myth for people that are looking for courage to say something. And as soon as you say something, if you're lucky, Yesenia, if you're lucky, you'll get your ass thrown on the mat. And you'll get thrown on the mat by people that love you. That's what we want. You don't want to come here and tell me you're perfect. You don't want to come here and have me tell you you're perfect. You want to come here, show your butt crack, have me say I see your butt crack, and notice that I still love you. Notice that I'm still fucking here. And for the very first time, in the very first way, probably the very first time you've ever experienced it, you're having an authentic experience because you're suffering the beautiful consequences of your own actions, of what you say. And the consequences are I said something and that person didn't hear it. I think Tom's a great writer, but he's a debater. I don't think the fucker listens. I don't think he knows how to listen. I think he's purposely using the time while other people are talking to plot what he's going to say next. And I don't think Tom has what it takes to even hear that. I think it's something he's going to work on. Yesenia, it's the same with you. I've pushed you in ways, I've pushed you harder than other people. You know why? Because the last time I pushed you, I was like, holy fuck, look at her. Look at what she just did when I pushed her. Look at how well she behaved. This is a partner I want on the mat. We see these things. So it's harsh. It looks harsh because you're in the dojo. That's why it's harsh. It stings. You're leaving and you're like, why do my arms hurt? And it's because you were working out, bitch. You were putting in the time, you were developing the muscle. You heard things you didn't want to hear, but more importantly, you heard things that no one else would ever fucking tell you because there wasn't a sacred circle for things like that to be said. There's a reason why Renee's mod. I'll say this because she's not in the room. At least I don't think she is. She's better at this than I am. It could be because she owns a business. I'm not trying to say it's all that, but I'm telling you, if you do own a business, you learn quick. You just learn quick that there's a different posture that's required. It's not fair. It's not easy. It's not fun, but there it is. And I've learned quick that I'm going to lose people because I'm showing them authentic love and they've never, ever, ever fucking seen it before. It's always been covered in the sprinkles of politeness, of social structuring and cues, and it's drowned in caramel and white chocolate. It's white chocolate isn't even chocolate, guys. It's not even fucking chocolate. But that's where we are, where we don't even know these things. And this truly is the essence of dojo. It's a difficult flavor, but if it's for you, you're gonna know, holy fuck, this place is for me. You'll know that because you're in your bed at night, you're looking up at your ceiling, and you're going, holy fuck, what just happened to me today? And when you're having shit go down at work, it's because you're growing, Yesenia. That's the only reason why it's happening. You're fucking growing. And it looks this bad at first. It always looks this bad at first. It always looks like this because you're growing. Thanks.
Thank you, James. Hey, Brad, thanks for waiting, brother. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing? So it's not easy being kind of perfect like I am, and all you having to work through it and all. But that said, I think it's really cool. And you sent me what you were talking about, Adrian, talking relating to as well. I think it's funny that all of us, well, maybe not all of us, I shouldn't speak for everyone, right? But that how common it is to hear ourselves talk or be nervous about speaking in public. That's a very common fear, right? But how, Adrian, you talk about thinking you conveyed something a certain way. I don't always go back and listen to myself because I know I'm going to cringe, but I'm making my peace with that. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's not going to stop me from sharing. I that's one of the things, like you were saying too, you sent me about the fact that when you came in the room, and I feel like I came in probably about the same time as you. But that's why I changed. Like I had a profile picture, I put my face on there and all that because I kind of did want to come in the room being like, not trying to hide or be shy about it. You know what I mean? Because so to the point of the dojo, and I don't think it's really a big ask. Say if you're going to show up, you know, in a Zoom meeting, just simply introducing yourself is you don't have to. I don't think you have to say much, you know, but just kind of introducing yourself. Maybe if you don't want to put yourself on camera, at least a picture of yourself or whatever, which it's funny. I feel like mine being like a little profile pic, I tried to change it back to a different avatar. But anyway, I won't get off on that topic. But the reason I did do that was by the whole thing you're talking about. I wasn't trying to come in being anonymous because I want the accountability. And I don't know if you remember, James, because this is before I joined Patreon, but one of the first sort of in the comments back last summer, that we had, you had talked about accountability. And I came in talking about how that's sometimes what frustrates me the most about the world is I want accountability, and so many times I don't find it. And being honest, I have to also face that there's the times when I don't want to take accountability for myself. And that's really the work in the dojo. First and foremost, I want to do is take accountability for myself. But in that, I was talking to you about the fact you were complaining, I think, about the government workers or whatever not coming in and just basically doing their job. And I kind of joked back to you as when I first came to work I'm in county government. That's what struck me. I came in as a young man, and I was going to show them what I could do. And I thought that was what you did. You showed people your abilities and what your willingness to do. But what I found really quick was that's not what got rewarded around here. What got rewarded was just make your 8 hours. And basically don't do too much, because if you work too hard, you're going to make me feel like I have to work harder. And there's a real culture of that working in, maybe not every government, but I just work in, like I say, county government here. And so that's why I was teasing you about the fact that there's I don't find a lot of accountability in the world. And so to wrap that up, I appreciate that's kind of what I feel like we're going for. And I would like to think if there's no accountability in this dojo, I'll lose my interest in it very quickly, I'm sure. Because like you say, you see me being thrown to the mat. I damn sure want every one of you to throw my ass to the mat when if you see an opening. Does that make sense? It's not even about right or wrong. If you see an opening, something that you should mirror, you can hold up to me and take me down. It's like that's what I want, because I know that's what I'm going to grow from. That's what we've been facing, I think, all this time when we talk about speaking up and sharing and taking responsibility for our voice in the world, is because we don't want to open our mouths because we're afraid that we might have to admit some of our insecurities and the things that the world sees, but we want to pretend they don't see. But
Brad, you cut off a little bit. I'm just going to assume that you were done speaking, but I can second that superstition. It feels like not even just people. If anytime I utter anything out into the world, it always seems like it's there to face and challenge that and to really prove me wrong. Lisa, great to see you. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. I'm laying in bed and I've got a really bad cold. How great. I just happened to jump on because I saw my email, even though I'm not feeling very well. I'm showing up. And I'm showing up to the best of my ability, as we all do. And sometimes, by our own judgment, we aren't doing very well. And sometimes by our own judgment, we think we're doing better than we are. As far as anonymity, my throwback is all the way to my childhood name, which is Lisa. And I feel like I've worn different masks and gone by different names. And in fact, I'm I'm complexly confused right now because I do a lot of different creative things, and I'm kind of lost in it all. I'm really trying to find myself. And the last time I was on, it was pointed out that I'm definitely wearing a green belt and a green bathrobe, and that when I face my ego and I look through eyes of jealousy that come from anger at the world or at myself, more likely. I was thinking about jealousy and how am I going to really relate to this? And I felt sort of frustrated because um, I'm not sure how somebody can know that it's jealousy that makes me angry or that confounds my ego. I'm trying to be clear about what I'm thinking here. But there's a beauty in considering jealousy in relation to anger. And there was a real beauty this last week or so when I've considered my jealousy. And I thought, oh my God, you know what I'm jealous of? One of the things I'm really jealous of is, and this is going to sound really weird, and maybe it's from parts of a broken ego, like a shattered mirror, if you will, that I look into. But I realized that what I'm jealous of is when people love me or they see my beauty, that I want to see it too. Sorry. And that sounds really weird to me. It's almost like ego-y and puffy and like, oh, I want to love myself. But that's not really where it's coming from. It's like the child, the little girl named Lisa, who wants to know how to love. And I love really well. I love other people really. I love very easily. I always have. I just fucking love. I love things. I love people. I even love hard things. I love broken things. I just love. But I don't really know how to love the other direction. So I'm really fucking sick right now too. I don't feel very good. So I'm just really glad that I was able to see that you guys were talking and to be able to come on here and to be less anonymous than I normally am.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm working towards.
Lisa,
So thanks.
thank you. I'm going to see, I know you're sick, but I'm going to throw you on the mat anyway. And until you learn to love yourself, you are going to be a vampire in the room.
Yeah.
You're going to be the lowest common denominator, the source of the sucking sound in the room.
Yeah.
And you feel that. You probably know that. And it's part of why you're in so much pain. And I'm telling you this now because I want you to see how powerful this shame that I'm giving you is.
Okay.
It's the same shame as jealousy, Lisa. It's the same thing. Remember, we were talking about jealousy, and I was telling you what a powerful gift this is. Jealousy means that you've found more worth in your system than you had the day before. You feel you deserve more. So, jealousy is a good emotion. And if you can hold that, I'm putting maybe too much on your plate right now, but I want you to feel like a vampire mosquito when you do not love yourself. Do you understand the correction? Do you understand how this is powerful? Because this is
Yes.
the only thing that you are going to use to kick yourself is how ashamed you would be to be called a mosquito or a vampire. It's the only, I think it's one of the crucial ways that will get you there, Lisa. And I know it sounds mean, but it's only mean when we're trying to reduce ourselves to the hyena. We'd have to call that mean. If we're trying to
Right.
raise up to another level, we'd see this as a very, very important stepping stone. And so I hope that helps.
Say it again.
You're going to be a vampire mosquito until you learn to love yourself efficiently. Stop putting that off on everyone else. You're forcing everyone else to pay your way.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be a freeloader. You don't even have enough self-love to even be a freeloader right now. You can be a freeloader, but you're going to need to be in a lot better position than you can coast and go, hey, I need to be a freeloader for a while, guys. I'm going through some financial stuff. And because I put in all this time and because I've got all this credit score socially with you guys, I'm going to be a freeloader now. This is an advanced technique. And you're trying to pull this advanced technique off now by asking others to love you. Hope that helps.
We'll see.
I'm sorry, Lisa, you go right ahead.
No, I totally get that. I don't like being a freeloader.
I know, and
Thanks.
that's why I trusted you to. I knew that this is why I say it, right? I say it because I know you won't like it. I don't say it because it makes you feel better. You don't come here to feel better. There's a million and one people that are going to tell you things to make you feel better.
Mm. Part of the frustration is the exchange. Like if we're looking at the value system of what's actually being given. I put something in the mail recently to try and balance out some of my maybe the financial cost that I can't match in dollars, but trying to send something valuable. And I guess it's a funny thing. Like I just kind of want to move away from the monetary value only, and this is only because I am in a position right now where I have other things, but I don't necessarily I'm not exchanging my time for dollars right now. I'm on the brink of being well enough to do that again. But anyway, the idea of being a freeloader, we can put it right into a monetary concept, but maybe there's the freeloading of, like you say, like the vampiric energetic kind of pulling. That's where I'm kind of having a little bit of misunderstanding. What would you say about that?
I think that money is an advanced form of energy because it's so kinetic. And that one of the biggest mistakes I see is when shaman try and insist that they can't have money or they shouldn't have money.
Right.
They're committing usury. They're expecting the wisdom that others say, "Oh, you're so fucking wise." That's they're trying to pay their rent with that, and it's not going to work. The actualized alchemist is actually playing in a world that does have money. It has money because it's the belief technology that's been inserted into the coins or the currency or the digital format or whatever else it is. So
Okay.
this is true witness that's been converted into a liquid form that all of us can drink, and you're the one that's saying you're too good for it. I know you didn't use those words, but if you look at that as I'm saying I'm too good for this, you really start to see your own ass crack and you start to go, why can't I come up with $7? More importantly, why can't I just accept the fact that I can't come up with $7 versus having to insist that something else should be the same? It's
Right.
not the same. I have zero ways of convincing the mortgage on my house or the internet that I pay here that I'm going to give them Olmec heads. I have fucking tried. I have
Right.
fucking tried. And it taught me a lesson that I was just running away from my own power too. So when you're ready to
Right.
claim your power, you're going to want a credit score. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to want cash. You're going to want these things. But it's a very expensive thing. It
Hallelujah.
requires a certain level to where you're ready for that. And there's a giant subculture where you do not have to be ready for that. And quite frankly, it's been romanticized because the hyenas love to lick each other's ass over this very point that I'm superior because I do not use money. And this is a place to hide. And I
Yeah.
don't want to break people from this because having a place to hide, guys, is important. Having a place where you can run in refuge and say, holy fuck, I can't do this. I want you to find those places. I'm not here to say, you can't hide, bitch. No, no, no. I'm here to say, hey, I didn't know you could hide there. I did not know you could hide there. So hiding is not something to be ashamed of. It's something to remind you of, hey, I'm hiding. I'm hiding. The sun is out. I'm hiding under this rock. I feel safe, but why am I hiding? This
So
is
we don't have to hide an airship.
so well, I think we do.
Yeah.
I think we do hide. And I think suggesting that we don't, or this is a place of honesty, or that some of us are have no even saying things like I'm not at odds with anyone here, I think is a form of hiding. I think that we do have odds with people here. I think that if we become more sensitized to our own radar, we start to discover them and we start to realize that these odds are gifts, that the weird feeling that you got when I said something is exactly the gift that you came to receive. It's more a matter of do you deserve it? So the shamans that are kicking ass in every other way, I'm sorry, Katem, but every other way, the shamans that are kicking ass except for money are leaking themselves because they're afraid of feeling worth. They're afraid of climbing on top of the rock in the middle of the sun and saying, I fucking deserve this. And that is mosquito vampire territory. I don't know if you're going to be able to survive doing that forever. People like me are going to eventually get tired because there's just no way for it to be sustainable. Why is it not sustainable for me? It could be because I fail as a shaman, or it could be that I have personally hand fucking pruned this place to make it so this fire will burn properly, which means I need all of you fucks to bring wood. Don't bring me a picture of wood and expect me to put it on the fire. It doesn't work that way. Thanks.
Lauren, so lovely to see you. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being patient with me. I'm not necessarily shy. I just really like to listen, and I like to listen deeply and consider what I'm hearing before I throw anything out. And that's led to me not really sharing that much. I do apologize. This, I've had to write down even what I want to say because I'm not used to this. You know, like Adrian said, it can be terrifying to share and it takes time and practice. But this Aquarian age that we've entered into, a lot of turbulence, even though it's beautiful, lots of change. It's an age of personal responsibility. And that change from how we were living to how things are now, it's pretty dramatic. It involves a lot of consideration of action and reaction. There's a lot of dynamic exchange of energy that happens on this airship, and I absolutely love it. I found it essential to my growth. Words and beliefs are expensive, most definitely. Basically, all growth is necessarily slow, I found out, and all birth is in pain. And I think that we are doing a good job of that here. I've learned a lot, and I care about each of you, even though you don't know me very well. I'd like that to change in the future. Me being part of this Aquarian age is working on myself, becoming a master of myself. And I want to take that to the highest degree. This airship has helped. And I thank you for the witness. That's all I really wanted to share. And Pi, I think you're extremely intelligent. I love everything that you share. You're an awesome individual. That's it. Thanks.
So much, Lauren. And I really can feel always when you're in the room. And really for most of the people who've been here for a long time, Amel, Pi, you guys are really all good listeners. I think it was Plato who said, if you're the smartest person in the group, you're in the wrong group. And that's why I'm here, because I just love being able to see the bar set so high and try to raise myself to that level. Pi, go ahead, sir.
Well, thanks for those kind words, Lauren. It's nice to feel the love, spoken. It's a very good feeling. I guess what I wanted to say is in moments like this and other moments, we're exchanging potlatch. And I think that part of the self-love is not just, I've struggled with the idea of what that is and come to realize that it's very shamanistic, because there's very few situations where you can actually truly give potlatch. It's a rare thing. It's not something that, and I agree with the exchange of currency and money, whether it be wampum or dollar bills. Part of the Iroquois Federation that you described, this idea of potlatch is, when you're in a position like you, James, you have the ability to give potlatch, and you don't even know what you've given. You don't know what you've given to me, and I'm not going to tell you right now. too sacred to me. And I think we've all done that without knowing it. And I just wanted to give a reminder of that idea of potlatch, because I think it's related to how we love each other.
I want to define potlatch in case people don't know. Potlatch is your most sacred treasures remain hidden for 364 days. There's one day. You invite all your loved ones over. None of them are fucking anonymous. You let them into your house and you pull the blanket up and you show it to them. One day. You close it and they go. That's potlatch.
Renee, okay. I'm going to pass the baton back to you.
I'm just letting it sink in how special these types of times are, and it's just so beautifully said for this equinox. I really am enjoying this. When I came into the airship, I was just so down with just what was going on in James's work, and he really gave me a lot of free time. And when we started planning the 5-5 event, that was quite a orchestration, to say the least. But after I came back from that, I felt I was invested before I went. I was invested in Aquarius before I went, and I knew that this was a ship to be on because it was the one that was just shaking off what it didn't need anymore. It was very phoenixy, in my opinion. Like, it was kind of a growth that had to shed a lot of layers. But after I came back and I was looking around and I saw some really pretty, I'll say it, pathetic postures. And I was like, whoa. Especially in the orchestra, we got to get these people out because they're not holding anything up. I think if anything, they're draining the air out of the ship. So I came up pretty strong and just wanting to really structure up this Aquarian age through James's work and our collective works as we do individually. Some of us do more than others. But I was called a medicine woman, and I'm like, what? So I was like, what'd you call me? And I was asked to write an article about being a medicine woman. I'm like, I don't even know I was one. I'm like, how am I a medicine woman? And I thought about it. I'm like, oh, is that medicine? Oh yeah, I do that. So I think just that was like such a reveal to me. And I'm like, wow, that's what medicine is. So it's been an urge of mine. I have gone through menopause, and I knew the pause would need to be taken. Me, no pause. I knew it. I knew it wasn't supposed to be skipped. So I'm at a place in my life where women have not processed through, and men have their own portal to go through in that time, approaching their Aztec sun. So we approach the 52 years. There's a bit of a reckoning, and it seems to sync up with being really like, where am I? Let's look back. Let's look forward. Is this the pause? I need to see what's not being seen yet. So as I've carried on through with the airship, that's become more relevant as I've seen things, curtains drawn away. So that is a very powerful pose to be in as a woman in Aquarius, one that's gone through menopause and has, I've done it naturally, guys. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm just saying that I wanted to feel it all. So, and I was very blessed. I think my ancestors did a lot of work before me so I could get through it. So I see their sacrifices and I note them down, and I want to make it right for them. Tell him that I got the signal loud and clear. So that's Aquarius for me. It's very ancestral. It's very personal. I think about my mother and my grandmother and what they went through. And then I can see my way through that now. It's really beautiful. So thank you for being here. I'm getting very reclamed. And yeah, I will close down a little bit and I'll just let you guys talk about it or something. I don't know.
I think actually, that Yesenia has her hand raised, and thank you so much, Renee. I really relate to the ancestral aspect of what this movement's meant to you, and
We're still on lunch.
Yesenia, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to share some love vocally with Renee. Like, thank you for your videos. Thank you for your posture. Thank you. She also slammed me on the mat today, so thank you for doing that. Like, I really do appreciate, your presence. Like, thank you.
I appreciate it, Yesenia. I just see my kids in you too, and the Z generation really just trying to express. I love it. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I tell you guys just how powerful Renee is right now, but I'm not going to be able to get it out without crying. So,
Well, I think I've been ever since you guys allowed me to help with the co-host, and I've been tripping all over, skinning my knees up. And I appreciate you guys for letting me join you guys in that place a little bit. We are I think at the hour and 40+ minute mark. If you guys want to call this airship, and
fucking great airship, guys. Holy shit, so good. Yeah, let's unmute.
Yeah, really good medicine, everybody.
Thanks for hosting, Cameron.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron.
Good job, Cameron.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good day,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone. You're welcome.
Thanks, James.
Have a great weekend. 322 coming up. All right.
Do
Much love.